Rampart, did he make it? Unfortunately. I heard that.
I'm right here.
I love
I'm knocking
is-
stuff over. This guy's doing his quote. This is a great
Nate's
start.
losing it. I don't even know which clone my first part of that was.
Unfortunately,
It was like
yes.
in between Wrecker and any of the others. Like, did he make it? I'm always on the verge of Wrecker just going, oh! But they're like
Wrecker's-
running for their life. But I want a snack. There's just
Half of his
starving.
stuff now has just become noises.
Oh,
Sure.
Wrecker starring in
Become-
Planet of the Apes, Kingdom of the Planet of the Wrecker.
Planet of the Wreckers.
Planet of the record.
A ton of clone wreckers.
Oh my,
Oh,
Nate,
man.
where can the people find us?
Welcome back
us
to the
out of this
Star
mess.
Wars Guys podcast. Only one more episode of Bad Batch.
Oh no,
Ever.
Mm.
But we're going to talk about the second to last episode. We're going to break it down.
Penultimate.
It's
Yeah.
ultimate, which I always thought was
Don't
a
get to
funny
use
word.
that word.
Yeah,
Those two words, penultimate and triumvirate. We don't use those enough.
no,
we don't. We don't.
And
Penultimate.
indubitably.
indubitably. Yeah, It's like-
There's a couple others.
Yeah.
But I can't think of
Those are
anymore.
good. We'll try to work in indubitably.
Indubitably.
in the podcast today.
Well, welcome back. We're excited to talk about Bad Batch. We got a lot of Star Wars stuff coming up, but next week, May 4th, it's coming around. It's coming close.
Coming around.
May 4th.
But we're going to dive into Bad Batch, and we're excited to talk about it. Like I said, only one episode left, so thanks for tuning in. As always, we're your hosts, Mike,
Hello there.
myself, Nate. Hello there. And you know him well, Uncle.
Hello there.
Welcome.
Hello there.
Welcome. And before we get into it,
podcast you're looking for.
this podcast episode is actually sponsored by Legion Sabers. Is your lightsaber a fragile toy? LegionSabers.com sells battle-ready NeoPixel sabers that can take a beating in style with features like Flash on Clash, smooth swing, and gesture controls. Upgrade your saber today and experience the lightsaber battles your inner child has always dreamt of. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
This month, buy any saber, get a free mystery baselet, absolutely free with the code Star Wars Guys. So you get a free baselet saber with your order using our code Star Wars Guys. Visit LegionSabers.com today. Again, use code Star Wars Guys at LegionSabers.com for your
Nice.
battle-ready NeoPixel lightsabers.
Awesome.
Awesome.
They're pretty solid.
Mhm.
They're pretty solid.
Yeah,
We got a
you
few
got-
of them laying
we
around.
got a
They're,
few
they're
here.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah, it's great.
They're
You
fun.
can never
Great.
have You can never have enough lightsabers these days, especially with. We're not
Especially-
in the High Republic right
No,
now.
We're
especially
not.
with Grievous
We're
going
in-
around collecting them all.
Gotta be ready.
Grievous
gotta-
collecting them all.
You got to keep
Hey, greedy. Do you think
close knit
Grievous
on you.
The
is
Grievous
sponsored?
collection.
Is that why? Is that how he's collecting
He's
them all?
probably.
He's
He's
getting them
probably got
shipped
his
to his
own
house.
factory.
He's just waking up going, open the package. Oh,
Legion
no
Sabers. Funding all of Grievous's stuff. I love it. That's great. So yeah, we're excited to dive into it and talk Bad Batch. I know we usually start with overall thoughts. So what do you guys think?
Uncle, you want to kick it off?
Yeah,
Overall thoughts on the
I
episode?
thought another one. This is right on exactly what Bad Batch is designed to do. We've got full on wearing a clone. Oh, the uniform.
Yes.
I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Emery's coming around. I loved it. We got Rampart
Echo popping on hands.
comedy. Yeah,
I
that's,
love that.
Yeah, how's that? I guess that's a thing.
I guess.
I
Also,
wonder why I
I
hadn't
was
thought
like-
of that before.
Why not
I
travel
know.
around with an extra hand? Like
I know.
that seems
Thanks for
very.
the hand.
I'm sure he's passed many droids.
Yeah.
He could have taken a hand or
For sure.
built another hand.
I'm wondering how it's gonna play out.
Yeah.
This is gonna be.
We got some predictions. I wrote down.
Where
some
does
stuff
he?
too.
Where
Sorry.
does he land on this? I don't think he. I don't know.
I loved how much
I
of a
don't know.
coward he was the whole episode. The screams. How many Rampart screams
Oh,
did we
man.
get? Flying out
I
like
know.
his cable. The cable broke. And he's just like a complete mess, which
He
is so
is.
funny.
He's
'cause
running. He's tripping.
him as an Imperial, as a vice. What was he? A vice admiral.
Yeah.
Was always like intimidating and like in. Not that you thought that
He's
you
not in his
personally was
element
going to hurt
either.
them, but he was don't
Say the
cross
word
him.
and
He
you're
could,
gone.
yeah. So I loved him just being just frazzled.
I think I would be a cross between him and Omega.
Yeah.
Like They take it all really easy. They're jumping out of a
Exactly.
crashing freighter,
Yeah, of which they should
hanging
have died.
by cables,
Yeah.
swinging through the forest. I think a little bit of fear is natural.
Yeah.
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 I
Hey,
also
try
do
not to hit anything on your way down. Oh, we're only going straight in the middle of a forest.
Also,
How am I
love
not
it.
gonna hit a
Fall
single
full
branch?
speed.
Also love that he's like, oh, the cable broke, and he just goes, shoots it, and they just fall down, and
Right.
they cut to the next scene, and they're just like,
It's just
Boom.
touches 'em.
and they you just fell 100 feet into a forest. Oh man, but
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's
Unfortunately,
it's great.
he survived.
Yeah, I like that.
unfortunately. No, I also really like this episode. I think there was a lot in the last handful of episodes. There, you can see the finish line. It's, I mean, obviously, next episode is the finale.
Boba Fett.
It's not the Boba Fett finale. This is actually.
He's gotta
do
be-
you-
He's
wait,
gonna
do
be
you
in
think
it.
this is 2 years ago?
He's got to get in there.
He
Boba
thinks
Fett.
it's 2 years ago.
He's got to be in the
Yeah.
finale.
He'll come in
Boba
and
Fett,
save them
if
all.
if our predictions from a year ago, actually maybe even from the very beginning of the show, we're like, oh, Bad Batch, oh,
Omega,
so
maybe.
Omega, Alpha.
Alpha.
It's gonna tie to Boba Fett.
Boba
Then
Fett.
The Boba Fett
They
series
connect.
comes and goes and go. Who's? No, Omega wasn't
Neither
gonna show
way.
up in that. That was a little. It was a little extreme of a guess. She's not gonna be in that.
But he'll be in.
He'll be in.
No.
Wrong. But we did get Cad Bane in both. So
Yeah.
that's a win.
Yeah.
And Fennec. No, so I really like this episode. There's a lot that's happening that's definitely building to the finale. So there is this episode. I won't say it's a criticism of mine. I would say the one thing I think you can feel in this episode is you feel that the bigger episode is right behind it.
Yeah.
So it feels maybe less like a full, complete episode, but more like it's still like so much happened. There's a ton of stuff that happened. There's good character moments. I will get to the Rampart Crosshair conversation that I really am interested in when he tells him, I've changed, and he's like, yeah, sure you have.
They're
So-
getting their
Yeah.
last heading for the
Yeah, they're-
runway.
they're getting there.
lined
And
up.
so
All the
it's an
pieces are getting
episode.
aligned.
So the reason I say that is what's so great about having these shows on streaming, and whenever we go back and do a full rewatch, what's so good about the streaming show is that I will not, and probably after this week, probably not ever sit down and watch just this episode in one sitting
yeah.
because it ties so much into what's coming after.
Yeah. Right.
So obviously, if I did watch this episode, I still would have a good time. But it just meaning, what's great is the way these shows come out. When you watch this is going to feel like the last 3 or 4 episodes. I think are going to feel like
Yeah.
a long, tied together, continuous, full speed ahead to the finish line
Mhm.
that I'm so excited for because they've been building 3 seasons now.
Yeah.
Omega's said she saw something. She's got a plan. The kids are ready to help her, and I'm just excited. I'm so excited to see how they wrap this up. I think that they've definitely gave us a lot of hints in this episode of what's happening, what's probably going to happen. We saw some things we get to, but Nate, I'm rambling.
No,
Help
I
me.
agree.
Help me. Help me.
I agree.
Help me.
Get me out of
I
it.
agree. I think I did like this episode, but I agree. It did feel like it's leading into the next one. It's leading into the finale.
I mean, it's no Jack Black and Lizzo.
No.
No.
But they
no.
can't all be. If they all did that, there would be no. You can't all be.
There'd be
If
no
they do,
Star
there'd be
Wars.
no Disney Plus.
There'd be
no more shows.
There'd be no more shows.
They make an announcement that they're only doing Jack Black. and Lizzo.
Rampart, 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 Rampart. Oh wait, that was Peaches. Lizzo, Lizzo.
That's
So
great.
good.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's a good episode. I liked a lot of the stuff with seeing the batch come for them, and then it was cool hearing Omega even say like when they're fighting and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, those are the laser cannons.
Yeah.
They've
They
come for
found
us.
me."
They
She
found
said
me." And then they're like, "Who? My brothers. They came
Oh,
for me."
I don't
Brother,
mean to,
that was cool.
I don't mean to
Brothers.
interrupt you because I want you to continue, but I'm glad you
Brother.
brought that up because that was the first time that I've watching the show, even though I should have been thinking of this all along because clearly they're presented as a family. But I've always continuously thought of like, oh, Hunter is in this parental figure kind of to her. Then Crosshair has his moment where he's like this father figure to her, where he's teaching her and they're learning from each other. But that was the first time that I think in the middle of the episode, I kind of just sat back and was like, oh, yeah, duh, like because they're clones, they're literally brothers, not just like brothers in arms,
Mm-hmm.
but like if like thinking of the show in general, if you thought of it as real world of like, oh, this is a show about four, brothers in their 30s and their child sister,
Right.
and how of course they would go to the ends of the earth to rescue
Yeah.
her, to
Yeah.
do stuff, and then like it just kind of put it into perspective too of like, oh yeah, that is really cool that like, who is that, like, because I was even like, oh, what's her Instagram name? And she's like, my brother's, and I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
because at first I thought she was gonna say like my
Yeah,
friends,
it
or it's
almost-
gonna be my family or my.
It almost made me
Right.
feel a little bit
Brothers.
like
It surprised me that I didn't piece that together
Brother.
earlier.
it almost made it feel a little bit like almost like Guardians of the Galaxy, like as in like there's this group and they're sitting there and you're waiting for like a cool action entrance or something
Mhm.
because she's like they came for me, like I was
Yeah.
expecting them to come and show up, like it
Yeah.
was like I don't know, it felt like I just thought like that. I thought that line hit pretty well.
It was a good
pretty,
moment.
And then all of a
Pretty good
sudden,
moment.
yeah, and then she comes around the corner and you hear, I'm hooked on a record.
Wreckers dancing.
Ooga shaka shaka
Crosshairs,
shaka.
Crosshairs just twisting his
I
gun.
can't
And
stop this feeling.
Echo's putting his hand on.
Yes. Oh man.
Yeah.
But yes,
No, it was good. I am glad Echo got a hand because for I don't know 4, 5, 6 episodes straight there, he was just the plug-in guy.
he was plugging.
That was his
That's
role.
just his
Everyone
life.
had their
He's
special
the
their
plug-in
specials.
guy.
Plug-
He was
He
just the
an
plug-in
outlet.
guy. He plugged in,
He
he
was just a
did his thing,
cable.
found the map or
Yeah.
whatever it was doing, and then that was
Oh,
it.
man.
So a little bit more useful maybe now, but it's cool.
Some of the
It's cool.
specific things that as it's heading for the finale.
Emery.
Emery seeing Echo. I thought that was a really cool moment of how she notices, and then she's just Echo.
Mhm.
Knows
Like
his
just
name.
says, like, I recognize you. And she's
Yeah.
like, I've heard about you. And
Omega
then,
talked
I'm
to
Emery.
her.
She talked about you. She's like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Omega talked about you. She told you about it. Yeah. I thought that was cool. I think
Yeah.
clearly what feels like, you guys can correct me if you think any of this is off base. It feels like they're setting up and have been for a while, but it feels like Emery is now full blown.
Gonna
Like,
help.
They had their moment where that was her good soldiers follow orders moment where
She's just been doing what she's been
he's
told.
like,
all
oh,
this
you were
time.
doing this? She says, I was just doing my
Others
job.
have said that.
Yeah,
right.
like, that's the science version of good soldiers follow orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels like she has done her last thing to help the Empire. Like in that moment when she sees them and he says, where's she's in the vault and everything's breaking loose. It feels like that's the moment where when we pick up with Emery in the next episode, I would guess that she's no
Yeah.
longer doing anything to help the Empire. She might still be under the like pretending while she's helping Omega,
Yeah.
but I don't think she's I don't think she's conflicted about it anymore.
No.
It feels like that probably got
Yeah.
her to the
I
moment.
mean,
where
she
it's,
even said, "You'll need my help to."
yeah, you'll need my help. But it didn't feel like
Yeah.
it was even just kind of pressured because Echo's there pressuring her, like, oh, you'll need my help then to get her out. But it's kind of like she's like, I'm finally
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been. And
She
then-
didn't see a way out yet.
No.
Now she does.
That's the thing is I think that there's a lot of that. I mean, definitely this feels like she has like Stockholm syndrome. Like she legitimately like was a captor, like was taken captive and was there, and then Hemlock and the
Yeah.
Empire start doing their little brainwashing of like, okay, like sort of like how the children were like, oh, you'll get used to it. It's not that bad. And like that might have been her thoughts at the beginning, and then over time, it's like, oh no, actually they they take care of
I
me.
can't leave. This
They
is
do
all
that.
I've
And
known.
you start getting into that,
Yeah.
and then
Start
well,
convincing
then they also
yourself
gave me an
that-
important job, and now then they elevated and elevated and
Yeah.
elevated, and then
Mhm.
by the end, it's like when someone steps back and is like, "You're a clone. Why are you doing this?" And then it's becomes obvious again, like, "Oh, well, I never would have, but I thought there was no hope. There's no hope. I was getting out of here. So then it's
Mhm.
embrace it or be killed." So that's clearly set up. The Zillow Beast. We got back to the Zillow
Yeah.
Beast, which when they set that up, was it last season in season 2? when they had
Yeah.
the Zillow Beast
Getting
You thought-
captured.
Yeah, and you thought this is gonna have a payoff at some point.
Yeah.
I actually forgot about the Zillow Beast until this episode. I was like, oh, of course, we forgot that they were doing
Mm-hmm.
experiments on it.
They're doing experiments and they showed the capture of it.
And it feels like
Yeah.
that is what's going to destroy Tantus.
Yeah.
They teased that the Zillo Beast is still there.
Yeah.
Well, and what
Omega-
Omega found.
And
yeah.
Omega saw it, and when they when they get out of there, I think
She's
that's going to
releasing
be one
this.
of the reasons why Project Necromancer suffers a 40-year setback, because this thing is going to destroy every piece of equipment, possibly the island itself,
Mhm.
like at least the
Yeah.
where their whole base is and everything.
Yeah. That's right.
We're really setting some
That's
stuff
exactly
up.
it.
But do you guys think it on base on both those two things, and also
Yeah.
anything else you think?
That's
that
how
we should
Omega's
set
going to
up?
get out. That's the
Yeah.
way, that's the plan.
That's how Omega's getting out. I do think that could be a part of how stuff gets destroyed too and is set back.
Yeah.
For Project Necromancer, just because like even if they get a ship and fly out, a ship blowing up the whole base is going to be
Yeah.
tough.
Right.
But letting that thing run loose and destroy whatever it can while they're trying to escape kind of makes a little bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Also allows for more of a distraction, them to be able to even like hijack a ship of their own and get out since
Yeah.
theirs went down. Feels like that's where it's
It
where
could
it's heading.
be, yeah, it could be a combination because without Omega, everything is stalled anyway.
Yeah,
Know what I mean?
true.
So her escaping is going to put a stop to it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But then the destruction of that as well is going to wreak havoc on
Do
everything.
we
Yeah.
think that we've said this before, but as we're now kind of leaning into like predictions, does Hemlock survive or he dies? Because do we think Project Necromancer would stop if Hemlock's still alive? If next episode, at the end of the episode, I'm saying at the finale,
Yep.
if Hemlock is alive, do you think it takes him 40 years to rebuild, or is it like, great, we gotta go get Omega again? Like it's a nonstop. It's the okay, let's go get her. We rebuild, or does he die, and that puts a pretty not permanent, because eventually Palpatine clone gets there,
Yeah.
but a significant like, okay, this is not, because obviously Palpatine's still around during this time.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's of the utmost importance. You would think if Tantus is intact or if Hemlock is still there, Palpatine's like, we're putting all of our resources
keep
into
going.
this. We gotta keep going. But if Tantus is destroyed and Hemlock is destroyed, then maybe Palpatine's like, okay, we're still gonna get there. He's got these other things going on, and then that's when it
We
maybe
just gotta
shifts,
rebuild.
and he's doing it more in the shadows, in the background.
Yeah,
Some of the acolytes
I think
are coming in to try to help, which is what eventually happens on Exegol.
I
don't know.
think Hemlock might die.
Mm-hmm.
I only say that because if he doesn't, it feels like there would be
Like it's still open.
it's still open for an ongoing pursuit after Omega,
Yeah.
because he's the one who knows that they need her.
Yeah.
And so as long as he's still alive, I feel like there's always going to be a continuous pursuit for Omega. But if he's wiped out, I don't know who else at the base knows about
Mhm.
Omega and how like
Yep.
the
Emery and Hemlock.
significance.
I think so.
Emery, but I mean, if she
Right,
leaves, so
that's
like
it.
I'm trying to think of remaining Empire. I don't know who else knows that.
Well, that's because
The
of his own
significance of her
self-importance. He
piece.
doesn't share information like that. too.
Exactly.
It's-
So it feels like if he's gone,
Yeah.
it almost sets Omega free to leave and not be hunted down,
It could be
which
that.
could be like a conclusion of the Bad Batch story.
Yeah. I said another thought that he is the only one who knows. So if everything goes south and she escapes and the Emperor comes to ask what's going on, he hasn't lost anything in the Emperor's mind because he doesn't know that Omega, it's just we've got a setback in the process here.
Yeah.
And this Clone Force 99 has wreaked havoc. And his worst punishment would be facing the Emperor, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That could be how
true.
he
That
goes
could
down.
be. That could be too.
The end of it is him talking.
Because he would never say, well, we had what we needed, but I let her
But,
escape.
yeah. I got fooled
No.
by these 5 clones. One didn't even have a hand. Okay.
Okay.
That would be funny, though. This is the end of the season, so we're
Yeah,
predicting the
that's it.
final shot.
Right?
He's talking to him. He's, where are the clones of me? And he's sitting there, and he's like, well, we had a bit of a setback. Ow, my hand. Ow, my hand. Stop it with that hand. And he's just talking to him.
Echo
And
took
then-
his hand.
And then he goes, We had a bit of a setback. Enough. And he just shoves him into the vault. And then pops out and he's Snoke. I think Hemlock is Snoke.
Hemlock is Snoke.
Because remember,
why
Snoke
he's
always
so
had that
soft
nice
spoken.
fresh fade. He had that
True.
nice
And he's always grabbing his hand.
that haircut.
It's relatively
It's when
soft.
Snoke with Hemlock's haircut.
Oh my goodness.
The shaved on the side. That'd be great.
Well,
No, it's.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I-
I
it
just,
could
I
go
just
either
want an
way.
excuse to talk like Hemlock because
Because you can.
no, it could go either way.
Yeah, we'll see.
It feels like we're gonna get a decent amount of Hemlock in the finale.
Typically, an
Yeah.
Imperial's worst fate is facing their failure
Yes.
Yeah.
rather than death. But
Yes.
That is a good,
we could
Apology
see.
accepted.
prediction though. Do
Apology
you think we'll see
accepted.
the Emperor? Do you think we'll see him in the finale?
Don't know. This is now we're getting
Like
the
whether
real
Hemlock
predictions on-
survives or not, Tantus destruction, right? Say that it's destroyed, whatever.
I
Do you
would
think
love
we
to.
do
I
you
would
think
love
we
to
get
see
a
him in the
cut to
finale.
the Emperor hearing the news or like I don't know.
Feels like we could in the way that we got the final Emperor shot in Kenobi, where Vader is updating him on his hunt for Kenobi, and he basically tells him, like, you gotta stop pursuing him because you're becoming obsessed with him, and if you can't let it go, then I'll do something about it, and I'm gonna kill you because of that. And then that's when Vader, that's how they explain that Vader never goes after Kenobi
Yeah.
again.
Mhm.
That there could be, if Hemlock survives, there could be some conversation like that maybe even ends with the Emperor killing him or sending him off to be killed or something like that,
Yeah.
or just someone filling in the Emperor at the end of like Hemlock's dead,
Yeah.
Tantus is dead.
I don't
And,
think this is gonna happen.
So I don't know. It would be cool. I don't know that we will or not,
Yeah.
but
I
it'd
don't
be
think
cool
this
if
is
it did.
gonna happen. But how cool would it be if the destruction of Tantus happens and then there's a cut and it's the Emperor starting to rebuild on Exegol. It shows
Showed
just the
Exegol
beginning of
Oh,
Exegol.
wow.
It shows the beginning of Exegol and his operations of Snoke and stuff in there. Just like you just see like ships landing and them starting that process.
What if he's there, but he's with
Wow.
like some contractors, and he's like, and the
Yeah, oh,
Sith,
put
the
that
Sith
there.
Eternal will be up there in those. You see those balcony, the bleachers.
Oh, by the way, that's
know, we're
a,
going-
Oh, whoa.
They'll all be up there.
by that's
And then
that's
right here-
original
I will
concept
hang
art.
there.
You know, and he looks at the giant statues on Exegol, and he's like, bigger. Now
will-
we're like making up that he designed
Right,
all of
yep,
Exegol.
no,
I think
I
Exegol
will-
is an ancient planet. But
I will.
I don't think he created Exegol.
I'll come in from the skies
started-
on a crane right here.
We're gonna put the crane over there. We got the bad guys over there. And we got
Yeah,
that thing
well,
up there.
Well, short thing, boss, but I don't know if it's gonna support a crane is gonna support you. How
Bring them ships down from
now
up
you
on
said
top
after you
over there.
face this Luke Skywalker guy, how messed up we talking about? Are you gonna be here? And Palpatine's just like, do it, do it. Give me a crane.
What exactly do you want to have in here? Like how
Yeah.
much stuff? Everything.
Well, no, me and
Hey,
the boys.
okay, we can do that.
Yeah, we can. My boys can figure that out for sure. No problem. Just, the guy's eating a donut while he's talking to Palpatine. I
The
love
hard
it.
hats, the
Yeah.
cranes.
That's.
How many ships are we talking about here?
Listen, after me and the buddies get back from the Bears game, I'm pretty sure we should have this whole thing locked and it'll be ready to go, all nice and neat.
You said this is going to be called the Final Order. Isn't that a little foreshadowing?
How do you know it's the final one? I mean, maybe there's another one.
Other predictions for the finale.
Double
How-
episode.
I was just gonna say, how are we feeling about?
Can't do it
I
in 20.
will say
Can we do it in
this-
23 minutes?
I will be mad.
I will be Lizzo,
I
Jack
I
Black.
will
Yeah,
riot.
I'll be very.
Yeah, I don't think
If
it'll
I turn
be.
on the episode and it says 24
23?
minutes, I'll go.
Well,
I think maybe I should
That's
see
the point.
myself out. No, I just
Hey,
looked
maybe
up.
magic will happen.
No, it could.
You looked it up.
I looked up that I looked up the premiere of Bad Batch was 74 minutes long.
Ooh,
pilot episode.
Okay.
Now, we've never come close to that ever again. It's actually feels like it's been getting even shorter. So I do hope.
What was
they
the
go
what was the
back
2
to-
episodes? It was 2 episodes though. It wasn't a yeah.
Yeah,
They released 2
74
episodes at
minutes is
once.
an hour and 14 minutes
Yeah.
long. That would be 3 episodes of the current.
Mhm.
Like those are usually
Yeah.
like 24, 25 with credits right now. So
If it feels,
man, I just
here's the
hope-
thing.
again,
If
I don't
it
need
is
a specific time, but just be please significantly longer than a regular.
I don't need a
episode, 'cause I
specific
feel like
time,
we got
but
a
it
lot
needs
of-
to be at least 45 minutes and 32 seconds. I don't need a specific
Whoa,
time.
whoa.
No specific time.
Yeah, I feel like if it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and it feels like a little rush or something, it would be disappointing knowing that.
yeah.
Knowing that in the past they've had 16 episodes and now this is act 15
Mm-hmm.
this season, so it'd be weird to cut an episode and it kind of wrap up.
I think they made 15 episodes because this is so integral. He couldn't split it into 2. There was like,
There's no.
I don't
good
want to
stopping
split this
point.
into 2. I want to tell this story all in one piece.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
longer, and we're gonna just make
Yeah.
it 15 episodes. I think that
I like
it could be that it's so long that they.
The last episode's 3 hours long.
We
it's a 3-hour
It's
epic.
also this last episode is written and directed by Martin Scorsese. It's
Wow.
3 hours and 40 minutes long.
You
And
had a de-aged
Robert
Yoda.
De Niro's in this.
we pull it up. we pull it up next week. It's like 13 minutes.
It's the shortest
It's
they've
the
ever
shortest
had.
they've ever had.
He spent $50
It
million.
ends again with
and
Omega
we
saying
de-aged
they have a
Yoda.
plan.
And now he's looking great.
It ends with Omega again. Guys, I got a plan.
Oh yeah, Nate and I talked about
Oh, yeah.
this again. Not to get nitpicky,
This guy on his
but I
been
do
on a
think
soapbox
2
lately.
episodes in a row they kind of ended on the same beat of Omega saying, "Boys, I got a plan." Because she said that the last episode she
right.
ended with, she escaped, she looked out, she came back, said, "All right, guys, I got a plan. We're gonna escape,
getting
and
out
you're
of
coming
here."
with me." Then this episode, they're doing their rounds, and the kids, "My tummy hurts." Shut up.
Wait your
I go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Hold it.
Can I?
And
Can I
then
go
she
next?
escapes. She escapes. She sees the Zilla Beast. She comes back and says, "Guys, we're gonna escape, and I need your help." And I want the kids to go, "Yeah, you told us that last time."
You said we had a plan last
That's
time.
the same exact.
Hey,
it's the same thing you
boys.
said before, isn't it? I know. This is
Hey,
exactly what I told
boys.
me.
Same thing on it.
That's exactly what I told me. Mum, just shut up.
Hey boys,
No, the only reason I bring that up is
that's how we're gonna
I
escape.
definitely
You
felt
said that
this.
before.
I felt in this episode a little bit of what I felt last episode of like, oh, great, awesome. Let's get to I'm
Mhm.
excited now. Let's get to it. So at the end
Yeah.
of the last episode, I was like, great, awesome. Let's get to it. And then kind of at the end of this episode, I was like, oh, great, awesome. Let's get to it. As far as just her side of,
Right.
obviously in the jungle, a lot of stuff was happening. With Rampart running through. They're running from this giant beast in the jungle, which I thought was kind of a funny beat earlier in the episode too, when they're like talking about their plans and like, great, we'll go in on foot. And Crosshair's like, the jungle is deadly. Crosshair's like, you don't understand.
You
This is the
can't
worst
do
place
this.
imaginable.
Right.
He's like, it's as dangerous
I
in the
know.
jungle as it is.
here before.
So
We've
there's
been
a lot
here
happening
before.
with Rampart.
We're going in circles.
We're going in circles.
We've been here before.
Going in circles.
Great, Smeagol.
We're mixing them. Crosshair's like, more lambus bread. I like lambus bread.
Smeagol, you
I'm getting full.
Crumbs on Wrecker's jacket says, he took it. He took it.
It's all about Andy Serkis.
It's all.
It all comes full
Awesome.
circle, Andy Serkis.
Except Wrecker would go, crumbs? Oh, I thought I finished that. To eat a bite of his own shirt. He'd eat a hole right through it. So much is happening. Do we think, so another prediction. There is one scene in the episode that made me go, oh man, I think we might be losing this character in the finale. Perhaps. And it was the conversation between Crosshair and Rampart.
Yeah, you think Crosshair
And I
might?
think Crosshair might be
Yeah.
sacrificing himself in the finale. of this.
I could see that too.
Because when
Not
he's like, you
anymore.
can't just do stuff. You know,
I've changed.
Rampart's like, yeah,
I
you
thought
are
that
just
too.
like me. You do, you don't. You're not for the
You're
team.
out for yourself.
You're
You're
out
out
for
for you.
yourself. Ultimately, you'll do what's. And then
Yep.
he's like, no, well, Omega, could have left me behind, but I'm, I owe her because of this. And he's like, yeah, whatever. You haven't changed. And he's like, no, I've changed. We say, sure you have.
Sure you
Sure
have.
you have. Which makes me think both that's kind of a Rampart moment and
Mm-hmm.
a
Crosshair
moment where it definitely felt foreshadowing for us as an audience, feeling
Yeah.
like we're gonna see very clearly. Crosshair is going to show us that he's changed, because to this point he has done stuff begrudgingly.
Mm-hmm.
He's with the group. At first, he's with the group, but he's all right. And then,
So-
well, I'm doing this because, like, even this, like, well, I'm doing this because I owe Omega because she
Mhm.
helped me or
Yeah,
did this.
payback.
But also, would you do that for any of your brothers at this point? Are we at the point now where you're back to caring about everybody?
Yeah.
Or is it kind of just
You ain't no
said,
tech.
you're evening the score because you owe me there's a debt, I
Yeah.
repay a debt, that type of a thing, or is it actually, you're willing to, at the sake of yourself, sacrifice
Sacrifice.
yourself if needed? And
Yeah.
Rampart, I just think Rampart's a straight up weasel, and I love it. I love it.
He is a weasel. I think I agree. I think I thought about that too when they mentioned that. But yeah, I could see them putting Crosshair next episode in a situation where he has to choose. I can like either escape or do this for myself. Like he's put in a situation where he could do something for himself,
Yep.
or he can make the decision to be like sacrificial and
Mhm.
and do something, or even like sacrifice himself or whatever for Omega,
Yeah.
or even the rest of the batch, whatever it is.
Mhm.
All of them
All
or
of 'em.
something escaping. And he's put in that situation. It shows him for a second, like, can I do that or
Yeah.
this? These are my options, and then him choosing to sacrifice himself.
I
could
think that
see
might be.
I can see
It-
that happen.
it-
Plus, Star Wars tends to do that with a lot of their characters that start bad and
Mhm.
then go good
I go all the
That's
way.
true.
because they show like I don't know. They go all the way.
I wondered if it could also be a Rampart. That could have
Yeah.
also been a Rampart moment too,
True.
because now
Yeah.
he's faced with an opportunity to serve himself,
Yep.
or do something
Change.
good for actually people who actually rescued him.
Yeah.
They needed it. They
Yeah.
needed it, but they did rescue him multiple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah,
And the Empire is not loyal to him.
The Empire's never done anything for him. At the
No.
first,
and that's what
the
Crosshair
first
says
moment,
to him. Is
they
the
turned
Empire,
on him.
Yeah.
That's what Crosshair says to him too. He said the Empire betrayed us both.
That's right. So it could
No,
be a Crosshair moment coming up, but
Yes,
also
it
a
could be
Rampart.
Rampart
Yeah.
moment.
Now he's faced with it right now. What's
Yeah.
he gonna do?
I think
Yeah.
I think it's right. I think
I
it's
still
I think
think-
it's as likely
Could both.
to be either.
Either.
I still
really
think, I still wonder if there will be any sort of moment between Hunter and Omega, because I feel like that relationship, the Crosshair Omega relationship, has definitely been, I feel like, the focal point of this season.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they'll come back to that relationship with Hunter and Omega. It feels like that connection was a lot more emphasized in the previous two seasons.
Yeah, I think having it
So I wonder if
could be.
Crosshair does some sort of sacrifice and saves her, and he
Mhm.
gets kind of that moment, but then Hunter and her kind of have a moment of their escape and actually being like Hunter almost feeling a sense of relief at the end of this finale of
Mhm.
like I did it, we did it.
His journey, yeah.
My purpose has now been fulfilled, and saving her, wiping out the people that are after her, and we can finally go on and she can live safely. And them kind of having that kind of resolution, I wonder, but I don't
We're
know.
gonna find out. There's some other. I don't want to call them loose ends, but maybe like I said,
Loose ends,
like
no loose
things
ends.
things that we expect will come back for the finale. One, the CX troopers that we haven't seen in a while. That a lot of people had on the internet, like, oh, is this tech? Is it? I don't think it's tech at this point. That would maybe be a lot. For
Oh,
the
yeah.
finale. But
We still haven't seen our
we
guy.
haven't seen him in a while.
He's
Yeah.
gonna show up with that's gonna be his showdown, him and Crosshair. Because we
Him and
haven't
Crosshair.
resolved Crosshair's hand thing either. If they're ever gonna come back.
No,
to
and
that.
they've kind of hinted at
They keep
a lot
showing
of
it.
It feels like it's more of a mental trauma than it is actually something wrong, than it is
Yeah.
something wrong with him physically.
Yeah.
That it's because it's like, especially when they talk about what he went through on Tantus, that's when they cut to him doing his
Yeah.
hand stuff. So like, there's some sort of trauma, I think maybe even directly tied to Hemlock,
Yeah.
which is interesting that they play that the two of them both have a thing with their hand. I think is kind of not that like they both went through something, so they both have a hand thing, like literally, but I think that from a storytelling standpoint, like they remind us that these two are connected because of what Hemlock did to him and tortured him, that he is afraid to go. This is one of the toughest, tough guy soldiers that there is, with Crosshair,
Yeah.
who even amongst his brothers, like,
Like, I don't want to go back.
I don't
there.
show emotion, and he's just like hardened. But when they talked about coming back here, he was so afraid of it at first that he didn't even share all the information at first.
Yeah,
Go at
because
all.
he didn't want to go.
When he goes, it's like, oh man, like okay, we're reluctantly going. We're gonna have to break out Rampart just to go do it.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to see in the finale him have a sharp shooting moment. Where
That
he
could be how-
That's what I
overcomes that-
think. Yeah, that's what I
That
think.
could
It
be
could
how it
be
goes
him
down.
versus that assassin.
Yeah,
That could be.
yeah.
A
What if
moment
it's
of-
a little like an Armageddon moment or something where it's like they have to escape. He's on the planet still, and he has to sharpshoot something and go down with like he has to make a shot, but it's gonna kill. It's gonna actually he would die
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
he would save Omega and save the rest of the crew, and then maybe while the ship's flying up, they just push Rampart off the ship into the flames.
He grabs the
going to
cable.
make it.
He
They
grabs the
actually are
cable. He grabs the cable, and they just shoot it again.
I'm saved.
The cable's hanging from the ship, and he grabs on.
That's Crosshair's
That's
dying
his shot.
moment. Crosshair's dying moment.
I
He
can
can
do it.
either shoot this cable and let Batch and Omega get away, or he could shoot this cable and kill Rampart. And he shoots over here.
I got
that
it.
Takes out
moment's
Rampart.
it's the classic. It's like the
I'd rather us all go down.
Batman moment of like, oh, this person's falling and this person's falling. Who do I save? How do I save? But it's, do I save my friends or do I kill my enemy?
By the way, that was a horrible choice.
Yeah.
Batman made the completely wrong choice.
Yeah, that's
Harvey Dent was
yeah.
a disaster
That was
waiting
a-
to happen. You couldn't see the ego in this guy from the beginning. Come on.
that was not
Batman,
the right,
he's got a
was not
bigger
the right
ego than
moment.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. That was not the smartest. move.
Harvey Dent.
So
Yeah, anyway.
I would
You
like
got to
see
kill
a-
Rampart
Yeah.
because that's how it's going to end up.
Yeah. You gotta kill Rampart.
Wait, is that our
If
new?
we've learned anything from
is
Batman, you
that our
got to
new-
kill Rampart.
New merch.
Kill Rampart. Kill
Gotta
Rampart.
kill. Gotta kill Rampart.
shirts.
Oh,
Just
man.
kill
goodness. People are
Rampart.
gonna think we're
2021.
some crazy militia. We're watching
Yeah.
kill Rampart. Like, who is Rampart, and why are these guys trending on social media? These
But let's kill him.
these extremists. No, we're just Star Wars fans who don't like.
Is he
this
running against
animated-
Biden? Who is Rampart?
We,
Is he a Trump guy?
no, we're just Star Wars fans who don't like this animated character.
We
Actually,
like
we like
love
the
his
cartoon.
character.
It's a
We
Star
like
Wars
the character.
cartoon.
We think he's such a weasel
Yeah.
that it'd be nice to see a good solid.
We've got Anakin Skywalker and Captain Rex both in the chat again.
Oh,
Anakin,
good
the
choice.
Clone
One.
Wars. Anakin says the Clone Wars to rescue Omega.
Oh.
The
Well,
clones.
The
Oh yeah, what about the rest of the clones that are there? Because Echo says we didn't just come for
Gotta come
Omega.
and get 'em.
We came for all of our
Mhm.
brothers. So I wonder how
and
many
all
of
the
them.
children.
One,
Yeah.
how many of them are there? Clones are still
Mhm.
there, and how many will be rescued? I wonder how many are actually still
They're
there.
so brainwashed, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That reminds me. Do we see?
Wait,
You
they all
mentioned, do we see-
turn. They all look at him and go, "We're not coming with you." And Echo's like, "Yeah, no, we gotta take them out.
Long live
we
the
gotta get
Empire."
rid of these guys. They're not
What?
one of us."
Wait, they open the
They're
door, and,
not
they
one
open the
of
door and
you.
all these guys like robots go, "Good soldiers follow orders."
They shut the door and just go, "Yeah, we gotta
Echo
take these
closes
guys
it
out."
and says, "Yeah, they're gone. They're gone.
Just throws
That's it.
them.
We're out of here. They're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone."
They're good.
I
Captain
didn't find
Rex in
anyone,
the chat, too.
Echo
Welcome.
closes the door and Echo, did you find the clones? And Echo runs into all
No.
these guys. Good soldiers followers. He closes the door and says, "They're not here. Go ahead, blow up the base."
Yeah,
It's just like,
yeah,
we're
we're all
on. They
clear.
must have
All
left.
clear.
All clear.
All clear. Take your shot.
Do we think that we mentioned Palpatine? A little twist would be seeing just in like a container. You could see a Palpatine clone. We do think that there's some sort of Palpatine cloning going on Tantus, although
We've
we were
Never
wrong
seen
about that because we've never seen it.
We thought the glow of the white was like a
thought
vast,
sure
vast
that,
vats of Palpatines
And
floating.
instead, it's just Jax.
I want to go back and look at
No
that.
Palpatine,
scene.
all
What
that.
made us think that?
Ain't no Palpatine in there.
A little. What I don't even say. What's funny is what's more likely is getting like a Palpatine clone than there is a Snoke clone. I don't think
Yeah.
we'll ever get any more Snoke information.
No.
I
I
really
think
don't at
so.
this point because
I think they
we
gave it
now
all.
know-
They gave it all to us.
No, but I'm saying
He
specifically.
was a clone.
is-
Palpatine was making them. Cooking
He's
them
just
up in
one
a
of the
pot.
batch.
No, but we remember we talked
One of
about
the
last
clones.
episode. There is a missing piece that I don't think we'll ever get, which is how did Palpatine go from cloning himself to where's the decision of instead of cloning myself, let's clone this giant monster guy and have him lead the First Order when he was because Palpatine now it looks like was trying to clone himself, going all the way back to
Yeah.
the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Going
I
back
think-
to this setback. It sounds like somewhere in this setback. Then they go, well, let's try the same thing, but with a giant.
Well, no, I think it's because that's the answer to the to Omega. Without Omega, he can't clone himself to duplicate the M count, and so without
So do you
her,
think they use the children to make Snoke then, like their DNA?
So-
because Snoke still had the Force abilities though. He has an M count, so they got blood from somewhere
Mhm.
and made Snoke, and he's a
yeah,
strong
either him,
Force user, like
him,
very strong Force user.
Grogu. I mean, there's still so much time between
Yeah.
now and the Bad Batch to when the Force Awakens actually happens. It could be from any Force user that they found, but what's the missing piece on why they became Snoke clones Snoke creations and not Palpatine at the time was because they couldn't replicate his M count, which leads all the way up to even the very end of Rise of Skywalker. Even the Palpatine we see is not a direct
True.
one to one M count transfer. They improved, but even that Palpatine clone that we see in Rise of Skywalker is not a direct M count transfer because he's all deformed and stuff, which is why the dyad was strong enough to restore the true, as he
Yeah,
calls
the
himself,
true
the
Sith
true
Eternal.
Empire. Because
But we did see more
they
Snokes
never were
in those
able
vats,
to-
though. We saw more Snokes in those containers. So it's like
Mhm.
Snoke wasn't like it doesn't feel like was like an abomination of like they tried to make a Palpatine. And it came
No.
out as a
It seems
Snoke.
like they were like, okay, this came out and it worked. For this, we don't
Yeah.
have a full. We're still working on
Yeah.
the Palpatine.
Because remember, Palpatine's so strong. Palpatine's thing was that he essentially because his M count is so strong and he's like essentially
killing the
most
host.
he's the most powerful being in the universe and is so like he's literally
There wasn't a host that's
so
strong
so
enough to
evil
create.
that none of the clones could really withstand it, other than it looks like Omega's would have been potentially the one that would have worked. That maybe the M count transfer. Maybe it's not that they couldn't find it that M counts couldn't transfer, but it's that his specific M count is so strong that
They needed
that
Omega's DNA.
they needed
for-
something. They needed a perfect match Omega's DNA for his thing to not just destroy which is why it destroyed the other hosts of like the rotting emperors because
Yeah.
he was so strong. So the question is for Snoke. I would love to know, and again, maybe it'll be in a book or something sometime. At what point in the storyline is Snoke introduced? I've always been so curious about that. Meaning, in Rise of Sky or in Force Awakens, he is the supreme leader of the First Order. Had he been on the scene for 5 years at that time, 10 years?
Well, yeah, he
Had
started.
he
I mean,
been-
he started out as a new recruit and worked his way up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He started-
You're the big one in the back.
Yeah, you, the giant one with the big scar.
I want to be pilot.
He pulls on Solo. Let me be a pilot, fast in the galaxy.
Fast in the galaxy.
No, you're gonna be the supreme leader.
Oh,
Okay.
Orders directly from the top. And who's at the top? It's literally Palpatine going to Puppet Master.
Yeah.
But no, I've always wondered because they built up all these admirals going all the way back to Gideon, who obviously didn't make it, but Hux,
Mhm.
because Hux's father is part of this group that ends up leading into
Yeah.
the First Order, and these guys are doing all this groundwork for years, and they build up like this organization, and then
And the
Palpatine's
outside
like,
hire.
actually, we're gonna throw
Oh,
in,
it's the
he's gonna
worst.
take over the whole thing, which is why like Hux and these other guys like all just hate him, like they just resent it, like we've done the legwork. You didn't do the legwork. And they're all just so upset.
there was legwork,
Oh, there was legwork. His legs are working.
Yeah.
So I would just always think it's so interesting. In my mind, you always come up with some headcanon of like, okay, The Force Awakens, was he created 5 years ago? When was he cloned? Was he cloned 20 years before that? Was he?
Well, we're gonna
Well, I
see
never
at the end of next episode that he's starting it on Exegol.
He's starting the end of this show. The
It's the
end of the show
beginning
ends
of-
with like some giant, huge reveal that we'll never get because it's the end of the show.
Exegol. It's not. Yeah.
I can't wait for the end of the show. That sounds like I'm ready for it to end. That's-
I am
what I
so
mean is,
excited for
I
this show
can't-
to end.
I can't wait.
It is time for the Bad Batch to end.
You
Oh,
will.
yeah.
This will be the last Bad Batch.
Yeah,
And
you will
everything
be.
Well,
you said was wrong.
I will not be the last
am
Bad Batch.
I am
I will not
I am
be.
a child of hope. I am a glass half
Yes.
full.
I
This
am
will be the
too.
last Bad Batch episode.
True.
Is that hopeful? Is that what you're saying?
May not be the
Oh.
end of the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
True. Tails.
Anything, all kinds of stuff.
Or just
Yeah.
off
I mean,
screen.
we don't-
They survive.
We
They
don't
live.
see them. Dare I say, we don't see them because they hadn't thought of them yet. Maybe that's why they're not in the other stuff.
Yeah.
But so we may have other adventures where they
Yeah.
mingle
We-
with.
I think they're in a. They're in the
Uncle makes a
Ahsoka
good-
season 2. They're
There you
all
go.
on.
Uncle
They're
makes
all
a
in
good
there.
point. We are way past. We are way
They're in the world
past
between
the-
worlds.
They're in the world between worlds. They're out
It's
there.
the only safe place
Uncle,
for Omega.
Uncle makes a great point there, though. We are way past the point of our Star Wars fandom of the 2015 version of Star Wars fandom, which was, oh, well, this person wasn't in A New Hope, so they must
So,
be dead.
he has
You're
to be
like,
dead.
Or they hadn't created that character yet.
Right.
Like, that's the real.
And they were out there.
Ahsoka must die
Has
because
to,
she doesn't
because
fight
she's
in
not
this,
there.
Like, or like literally, she's in another galaxy. She's in like they can do a million. There's a million.
Yeah.
Everyone thought Ezra. I remember when we were watching Rebels. When Rebels was actually airing, when I was watching the final season. when
He
it was
has to
airing on
die
TV,
because-
everyone said Ezra has to die because he's not. Because
Doesn't
Luke's
make
the,
sense.
Luke's
How else?
Luke's the last Jedi. He's the New Hope. He
Mm-hmm.
has to die, or he has to go bad, and become like an Inquisitor or something. He
Mhm.
has to and then-
Or they
Well,
could
it's like,
just deal with
or-
the inconsistency and
or
have another
they
reason.
send him away to a different galaxy with Thrawn on space whales.
Yeah.
Like you can do anything. So there's
That was my second guess.
I was just like,
Yeah,
Space Whales.
I thought it was Thrawn. I thought it was
Yeah.
this. I thought it was this Legends character in Ezra escaping to Pretty on.
You
Space
have to
Whales.
be in charge.
Yeah.
You have to be in charge to pull that storyline off.
Yeah.
You're not pitching that to anybody.
No.
That's like the Back to the Future pitch.
Yeah, it
Nobody's
doesn't work.
buying that
No,
unless
it
you're in
doesn't
charge.
It
So
doesn't
the
You're in charge.
ride on Space Whales. Okay,
Yeah.
next we got Willow 2. Anybody out there with another Willow idea? I'll take anything.
Anybody?
Unless you're in
Willow
charge.
too, and it's just
and then
just
you-
Warwick Davis raising his hand. They're like, Warwick, we need an outside perspective here.
You
I
pitch it
know
and
you-
everybody's like, I love that idea. When you're pitching it down, when you're
Yeah.
pitching that up, like, really?
Really interesting.
Yeah.
But it works.
It works
I think
great.
it's. I
works.
think it's.
Yeah.
I think it makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they wrap up. I feel like the predictions we're discussing. It seems like they're all leading towards the destruction of Tantus potentially and the Bad
Tantus.
Batch.
But we do know you're right. They don't have to die
Yes.
to preserve the. They could all survive and
Yeah.
be out doing some other thing that we see happen
Yeah.
in another connection somewhere.
I don't think that they're going to live on Pabu. No, we thought that was
Don't-
it for the
No,
longest
I don't
time
think
until
so.
they got tracked there.
No, I
And
don't
that
think
was the
so.
end
They
for
got
that.
tracked.
They pretty much
Chaos
destroyed
Any-
that
You
planet.
gotta save those poor people.
Any, I know.
Everyone.
We are
They
so
literally
sorry.
brought them all there. Any other?
What are we sorry about?
any
Did
other-
anyone take out Batcher to go potty before we left? Like,
I was thinking about that
Batcher's
this
just
episode.
gone.
Where's
Nobody
Batcher?
fed him or anything.
He's incognito. He's with one of the.
True,
over-
he's home.
He's one of the ones.
He's
that-
over there.
Come here, brown eyes.
That's what she's calling Batcher now. She's
That's
just,
how it ends.
that's it.
The ship lands. Batcher comes running out,
Batcher. Why?
and everything's
Batcher.
okay.
Why do I hope that the post credit scene is that we find out that the Emperor finds out Tantus is destroyed, Project Necromancer is significantly sidelined for the time being, and then they just cut to a jail cell, and it's this green lizard lady going,
This is all because of goggles. This is all.
Like, I just hope she's rotting in a cell. Like, she's
I thought you were gonna
That
say it cuts. I
scumbag
thought you were gonna say
shit.
it cuts to Batcher, and Batcher goes like this, and goes. His paws
His
hurt.
paw. He's got a glove
When
on.
Badger goes, grabs a blaster. His hand's shaking though. Can't do it.
My
Yeah,
hand.
Sid's like, at least you can come to my bar. And we go, cheers. It's just a whole Real Perlman connection. It's
No,
just-
Sid's out there somewhere.
Any other
Flourishing.
predictions?
Remember, she squealed. They said, he said,
Oh yeah.
the Trandoshan told us everything we needed.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
She did.
we really.
Of course.
Do you know where they went? Yes, just don't hurt me. We weren't going to hurt
I
you.
know.
She just
We
squealed
just
like
asked.
a complete coward. Like,
That's all the information we need. She keeps going.
yeah.
And
we really
they-
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other predictions before we wrap up?
Anybody gonna die?
I
you-
think
you
if
think-
someone
you
dies,
think-
I think the most
Crosshair.
likely is
Crosshair.
Crosshair.
after the conversation, yeah, with Rampart.
I had said in previous episodes.
Actually, I don't know.
thought
Omega
Echo,
might go.
I think if those kids aren't more help, Omega just might off one of them.
She says, one of the kids gets fed up
Do something.
at the end of the next
I tell
episode.
These
you.
kids
Sit
don't know
down.
anything. What's
Okay.
that?
Near the end of the next episode, Omega comes around.
They're
and
force
she
users.
goes,
That's
"Doss,
it.
I've got a plan. And the kid just punches her. Quit telling us that. Get me out of here. The kid-
So do I.
So do I.
Oh,
So
man.
do I.
She's
I'm
one
out
of them.
One of them cloners.
Them
Oh,
cloners.
man.
Yeah, give me a little.
Them cloners.
No, they're not. They're gonna make it
Dex.
out. All the kids are gonna make it
Yeah.
out.
Kids are
Emery's
gonna make it out.
Emery's gonna
Clones
make
are
it.
gonna make it out.
Mhm.
Oh, Emery. Yeah. How does Emery's gonna make it
I think
out?
Hemlock's gonna be standing on the docking bay as they fly away, going. That's it.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
says, what,
I'll take the full
he's
responsibility.
trying to yell to them, but he can't. His voice is so quiet.
Come back.
Hey, you come back here. This is. Hey, you come back.
Hey, you come back here right
Hey, don't talk to me like that.
It's not a technique. It's actually a
It's
weakness.
actually- really? We've been so wrong on him. We thought the whole time it was intimidating.
He's been
because
yelling
he's
the
so
whole
calm.
time. And then they
He's-
cut to his brain. He's like, "Why did I?" Everyone stand still.
Everyone stand still.
Stop. Come back.
Come back.
Don't.
It is. It's a complete weakness. He can't. He can't raise his voice at all, and it ends up.
He's a
being his
low
undoing.
talker.
He's a low
He
talker.
can't help it.
Ends up killing him. Sir, tell us when to shut off the self-destruct button. It's going. Shut it off immediately. Sir, you're going to speak up. I said, shut it. Shut it. Shut it.
When he gets nervous, it gets quieter.
Turn it off.
Shut it.
Turn it off.
That's
Okay, we are going to talk about Bad Batch next time, right?
We're talking about Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good
This,
idea.
I know we're still one episode where we have the finale, but can we just say I've loved the show.
Yeah.
Bad Batch has been a great show.
Yeah.
It's so hard to follow the shows. I mean, the other animated shows they've done in Star Wars since Disney took over, and even previously, because most of Clone Wars happened before, and then Season 7 happened after. Most of the animated shows, the shows have been so solid. I mean, there are a lot of people, even the portions of the fan base who maybe don't like the sequel trilogy as much, because some people are vocal like, "Oh, I don't like the sequel trilogy." If you talk to a lot of those people, they also though are still huge Clone Wars fans, huge Rebels fans.
Mhm.
So, it's something that most Star Wars fans that I know of that have seen the animated shows really love them. With any animated show, you're gonna have the challenge of just like there are gonna be people who just check out because it's an animated show.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of people that I know that will watch all the live
Yeah.
action stuff, but I
Yeah.
get it. It's an investment. You got to
Mhm.
It's a lot of
Yep.
episodes.
Yep.
It's easier to watch 6 episodes of Kenobi than it is 7 seasons of 20 episodes apiece of the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
So it makes sense maybe having not watched it for some people.
But what's wrong with you?
But following up, well, you're just a flawed person. No, no, you're just less than. No, the animated shows though have been so solid, and Bad Batch, I love it because I think that it's not trying to be Clone Wars and Rebels. It's its own thing,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
So I think in some ways you might on the surface be like, well, yeah, obviously the highs, the biggest moments of Clone Wars might be bigger than some of the biggest moments of Bad Batch. But I do think that's intentional. Like, it's not, I mean, I think they try and make the show as good as possible,
Yeah.
obviously. But this is not a show that is even built for, and then Darth Maul comes in and he takes over Death Watch and has, he takes over and there's a Mandalorian Civil War. And, like, that's not the show. This is this group. This is the A-Team. This is the Expendables. This is this confined
By
show.
design,
By
these are
design.
things that have happened that we don't know about.
Yes, exactly.
There's
Yeah.
missions that have occurred that are secretive, that are
And then I love
hidden.
that they've
That's
tied
kinda
this
their
into
thing.
still having
Yeah.
huge.
It still
what's so
fits
great is this
together.
has massive galactic stakes, but they don't necessarily know it, and neither does
yeah.
the world. Like, there's not Luke Skywalker out there that we know of saying like, "Oh, thank goodness the Bad Batch came in and saved the day."
Mm-hmm.
But if they didn't save the day here, as we're assuming that they will in the finale, Palpatine's reign of terror would have lasted a lot longer, and his return would have come a lot quicker. And
Yeah.
if they do,
It may have
you know,
never ended. He just
it may have
keeps
never
cloning
ended.
himself.
So
going.
what's great is while it was a contained story, and maybe outside of the people on Tantus, most of them don't know who the Bad Batch are within the Star Wars universe. They don't know who these clones are. A lot of them
Right.
don't. They don't know. People know the legend of Luke Skywalker,
Mhm.
but do they know the legend of Wrecker? Like,
Yeah.
what if at the end of this, these guys were talked about in the same vein? Like, it cuts to Broom Kid in the Last Jedi,
cuts,
and it's just
cuts to Wrecker, old Wrecker, and he goes, "Because I was a legend."
and then it cuts, and then Rex is talking to Wrecker.
Because I'm Wrecker.
Rex is talking to
A
Wrecker, and
legend.
he says, "We are what they grow beyond." And they're just talking about Omega being off doing her own thing now. That is a true burden of masters. And it's
No.
them they're just sitting back and reflecting, like, we did it, didn't we? We saved the universe.
Because I was Wrecker.
Because
A legend.
You pan down. He's got the pizza uniform on.
got another order, guy. Got another order. And they're just making her. Yeah, she's busting tables. That's how she wins back there. She has to repay them. You're working for free.
Smoking.
Don't ask me
Man.
about a wage.
We
About
killed
a
them all,
raise.
didn't we? We was good.
It was good.
It was good.
You don't have to wear a helmet. I like it.
I like
You haven't
it.
fought a battle in 20 years. It's comfortable. Just sitting there.
It doesn't come off.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love it. Give
but
us
Can't-
this.
I'm ready for it. Ready for the
Can't
finale.
wait to see how it works out.
This is
I'm
the,
excited.
We
It'll
need
be good.
The post Bad Batch shawarma scene that they had.
Yeah.
That they had.
True.
In, the Avengers. It
Yeah.
cuts. Yeah, that's their version of it. That cuts at the end of Bad Batch. They're all at a pizza joint.
Right.
Except not just eating there. This is they're
They're running
the
it.
joint.
They
They're
do
running
it.
the
They're
joint.
taking
And he's
orders
sitting there
and-
going, I'm flipping pies. And he's just doing this, and then, of course, every single one he throws up, and it just goes straight to the fan and shoots it because he can't control the lift, the dough. They're like, softer. I did softer. Just through the ceiling. This is the worst pizza joint you've ever seen. And next door, though, Dex's Diner's just cleaning up. 'Cause
Killing
all
it.
these people are coming over saying, we tried this new place.
serving geologists
Dex is over there catching the dough off
He's,
the
he's catching it. I love it. He's just absolutely capitalizing on the Batch's horrible business strategy,
man.
which is having Wrecker do anything.
Record do anything.
Just be the bouncer. You
Right.
should be a
You're the
bouncer.
Stand out
explosives
front.
expert.
That's it. That's
Kick out the
he's-
riffraff.
That's the other thing. He's an explosives expert. He's such a brute. Like, do we really at the
He
moment
is
of,
an explosive.
at the moment of truth, do we want? Was it the red one or the blue one? And they're like, "Oh, we're
Oh, for
Dex.
heaven's
Oh."
sakes, let me.
This is your
Oh,
job, Wrecker.
That's it. I like to blow stuff up. I like to blow stuff up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Man,
good stuff.
It's
I'm-
coming.
it's
Are we
coming.
doing
I'm
something for the
excited.
4th? Not July.
Yeah, we should.
May. May. Because you used to say the 4th, it meant the 4th of July.
Usually people don't
Not
say
in
We
our world.
celebrate our
For the
country's
4th.
independence. No. We
No,
celebrate
no.
Star Wars on the 4th
I
now.
still remember
We
an
do both.
embarrassing moment for me last year on May the 4th. Abigail would never let me down. Never let me live this down.
Never gonna
So-
give
so
you
my
up.
She will
wife
never-
never let me down.
never
She'll
gonna
never
give
let
you
you
up.
down,
Yeah.
too, but
Never gonna give you up.
Never gonna.
We were
let you down.
we were at a store and we're walking around and it was Star Wars Day and I was wearing a Star Wars shirt and I wear Star Wars shirts all the time though.
yeah.
And so I didn't think anything of it other than so I was completely caught off guard and it was my lowest moment as a Star Wars fan. My lowest, which was me walking by and a worker, an employee said, hey, may the force be with you. And I instinctively just turned and said, thanks.
No.
And I said, oh, thank you. And I walked by and Abigail goes, thank you? Like, what? And then I went, what did I just do?
What did I
And then
just
Abigail
do?
said, on the way home, we're talking about it. Abigail's like, that guy is like, so clear that guy's not a Star Wars fan. He just had a shirt on. He doesn't even know the saying. And I was like, the whole rest of the time we were shopping, I was debating, do I go back? Do I start a conversation? Do I say, no, I have a podcast. I can prove it. I love Star Wars. I have 10 of these shirts.
I say also with you all the time.
Also with you. Also with you. And then I got to the point where it was like,
Now you
just-
sound like George Costanza. No, I am really.
Yes. Well, the drugstore called and they're running out of you. Yeah, it was. And then I'm like, well, do I go back and talk to him? Abigail's like, you're just gonna make it worse. Like I go back and say, hey,
Let
buddy,
it go, guys.
By the way,
Let
buddy,
it go.
you know when you said
Larry
Force
David
Awakens?
would have gone back.
He would have.
Hey, I just want to ask you something. You got a Star Wars thing? I usually say I do.
Huh?
Pretty big Star Wars
And
fan.
then the guy,
Pretty big fan.
Oh, sure you are.
and then the guy would say, oh yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure
no,
you are.
yeah.
I always say I do, and also with you.
But
yeah,
you
sure,
did,
buddy.
but you didn't though.
But you didn't
You
this time.
didn't.
Normally I would have.
Having said that,
Having said that.
I do always. Well, not always. That one
Well,
time you
Do
didn't.
it right then.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
And frankly, if maybe
Let's write the whole show.
yeah, and
Frankly, if your May the 4th would have been a little bit bolder, I probably would have
Frankly,
noticed. Maybe it was on you.
frankly,
maybe
if the,
you're the problem.
May I say the samples would have been a little bit better? Maybe I would have said something. It was a guy giving out
Let's
samples.
write the
too.
whole
He was
show.
giving
That's right.
samples.
I don't know.
May the force be. Thank you.
That is pretty embarrassing.
Wow.
Oh, it was awful. It's eaten me alive for the last year. So really, I just
You
can't
have to
wait.
let
Need
it go.
redemption.
May the 4th.
Are we
go
doing
back to
anything?
that.
Are we doing anything on the Are we?
What is the day of the week?
Shimmy shimmer.
I do know I'm going
Saturday.
to see the Phantom Menace in
Yeah,
movie theater
yeah. Cool.
on the 4th.
We're gonna run some shows at home. We're gonna have some snacks.
We'll
some
stop by.
stuff.
If that's
Well, we
Yeah,
know
man.
that what's coming out on May the 4th. We're gonna
Yeah,
have Tales of the Empire.
Gotta watch
Tales.
all Tales of the Empire.
There's
we're gonna watch them.
so we'll have to do. We'll
I
have
didn't
to
know
do
if we were gonna
something.
cast or anything.
We'll have to do something.
talk
Maybe
about it, yeah.
Whether it's a cast on May the 4th
Yep.
or like a
May 4th. Oh, we
May-
could do a May 4th like theme cast too. Of, like even if it's
Yeah,
after
like-
May 4th, but
Yeah.
we talk
that
about
recap of
everything that we
everything
did.
on May the 4th. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about the snacks we ate, the movies we watched, the shows, the
Yeah.
the Costco people we talked to.
Yeah.
I put it out there. It was Costco.
It was
It was
Costco.
at Costco. So,
Oh, it
I
was
like it.
Costco, baby.
no, it was Costco.
I like it.
Yeah.
So,
We're excited.
it was-
We're
It's gonna
excited.
be great.
May 4th's coming up.
But we-
Finale of Bad Batch.
Bad Batch first, yeah.
Bad Batch finale next week. Looking forward to it. Not the end, but I want to see the episode. I'm excited for it.
next week is the end, though.
Yeah.
Next week is the end.
Yeah.
Although, one other last thing as we're wrapping, do we think that there'll be an announcement anytime soon of a long running animated show, or do you think that they've switched to more of just the style of the the Tales is something they can do? They can do it once every 2 years, or and they can do
Yeah.
just, hey, the new thing is here's 6 episodes. We're not locked into a time period. This is a way to service a
Yeah.
lot of the fans who are like,
I
hey,
think
go to a different time period. Hey, go to this character.
Mhm.
Instead of saying, hey, here's your new Asajj Ventress show, you say, no, on this season of the show, we're going to have 3 episodes that are focused on Asajj Ventress. And
Mhm.
you'll get those answers.
Do you think?
piece in like
Yeah,
they're doing with Tales of the Empire. And
that makes me think. Do you
Question.
think they'll ever make a new
for some reason, I'm
animated
having a hard time
show
thinking that they will. but I
that they'll
don't
make
know
a
it.
new animated show that's not just like? It feels like these are all like
the short stuff.
Almost
now.
like
limited series.
limited series, but also almost like spin-offs of like we saw the Bad Batch in this, and then we make a show out of it. We've seen, obviously we had Anakin, we had the Clone Wars, but now we're taking that story
'Cause they
deeper.
significantly set up Bad Batch in that final season. Though.
Yeah.
For like 4 episodes.
For
they
instance,
had the Bad Batch.
Rebels felt like a new thing because it was actually new characters at the
Yeah.
time. Even though there was some overlap, it felt like a new thing. I
Clone
wonder,
Wars was definitely filling in. Was a great show that filled in. It had some new characters, but
Yeah.
it was filling
Yeah.
in the gaps of
Yeah.
legacy characters. We
Yeah.
knew.
I
Mhm.
wonder if, as they continue to tap in the High Republic stuff, if we'll get an animated. That would be really
They've got
cool.
They've got the Young Jedi Adventures, which
and
is
it could
the
be-
which is the young High Republic stuff.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
Um,
I wonder if they do like a Clone Wars animated style. If they did something like that for like an animated show with some of the characters we know from the books or something.
The animation style looks so
and
good
they do
nowadays,
and
too.
they do some sort of they tell some of the story or character using the characters
Give me
from
some of the Nile.
overlap of the books
Mm.
that we've read. And
Give me some Light of the Jedi. Give me the
Be cool.
Nile
Could be.
and the animation. The pirates.
Yeah.
am the storm. Remember that?
yeah, but I don't know, there might be so much there that they want to tap into potentially for like either live action or something, or like a movie or live action TV that they maybe don't want to touch on that yet with animation because they don't want to like. I could see them not wanting to tell a story and then being like, "Oh well,
You don't
We
want to box
coulda-
themselves.
yeah,
in.
we don't
That's
want
right.
to box themselves in. We want to save almost. They want to keep it open probably for a lot of
Yeah.
live action
be.
stuff."
Could
But
see it.
anyway, there you have it. Bad Batch, episode 14. Episode 15 is the finale next week. We're looking
Last
forward to
one.
it right into May 4th. A lot of fun activities coming up. But yeah, a lot of good stuff working in a galaxy far, far away. We're excited. It's good. So as always, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. If you made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell. We appreciate you all tuning in. And as always, may the Force be with you. And also with you.
And also with you. Thanks.
A young Jedi named Darth Wrecker was a pupil of mine before he turned to evil. He destroyed and murdered the Bad Batch.
That's the finale's record. Just goes insane.
Ah, my hand.
My